The Māori Genocide Crisis, currently destroying New Zealand, may finally have a journalist willing to tell the truth. Hannah from Counterspin Media can stop our mass sterilisation and death. Hannah calling our mayors or Māori Trust Board could save our kids. Our councils traded away our water rights to receive relief funding and a domestic bioweapon. Ngāti Maniapoto Trust Board traded our children's health and wealth for the same poison. Poison that will lead to no Māori children as early as 2031. A call from Hannah to our politicians could lead to Te Nihinihi Nui and our local councils fighting back. Ngāti Rora is the hapu who seemingly got the best out of the treaty settlements. But all hapu disappear with graphene. Ngāti Rora has members like Michelle Wee. Michelle Wee is the type of leader with your tautoko Hannah who can help make the councils and trust boards tell the truth. All our cultures are going to be sterilised and become extinct. Every outbreak, flu, injury and death was caused by the injections. Poisons that Catherine Wickham-Manawaite, Dr. Buswell and the hospital, King Country News, our councils and our government Māori trust boards were paid heavily to push as medicine. There was no flu. Our flu-like reactions are our bodies rejecting graphene. Jay Whatawanakori was promoted to Te Māngai Pāho from Whakaata Māori television, rewarded for killing his mother and cousin and not doing any journalism. Our local King Country newspaper hired 12 journalists to push poison into our kids. Now that our kids are poisoned, King Country News has 1 or 2 journalists again. King Country News censored the horrific MedSafe statistics from our community. Our council and government Māori trust boards would have said no to the treaty settlements and 3 water agreements if they knew what you know, Hannah. Jacinda Ardern's relief-funded apology to our Ngāti Maniapoto kids was sterilisation and early death. Jacinda took the land, air and water rights that Keith Aiken, Ngāti Maniapoto and the councils gave away and used it as collateral to receive the poison domestic bioweapon. Our struggling local radio station suddenly had hundreds of thousands of dollars to lie to our community. They pushed fictitious flu survivors over the hundreds of thousands of graphene bioweapon deaths. Kane Kira resigned when he knew eventually everyone would know he lied, exactly like Keith Aiken and Nevak Rogers from TVNZ. Nevak offered me money to go back to TVNZ. I said, no matter how rich you can make me, Nevak, you are poisoning my kids. Nevak resigned. Hannah, if you can contact Ricky Wilson and ensure Ricky that I am telling the truth, Ricky can force Maniapoto FM to tell the truth. Just like Whata, Ricky is related to my kids too. I used to hang out with Ricky and Whata with their Auntie Teresa, my daughter Haishia's mum. Now these kids are trying to kill my kids, who are their cousins. And you know why, Hannah? Because none of our so-called influencers, celebrities, musicians, health experts, police, mayors, or Māori elites have told the truth. They have all been paid heavily to lie. Every rabbit hole on our kids' devices was put there by the same system that has poisoned them to death. Māori versus Pākehā was created by bringing Mauritanian and Peru slaves to New Zealand and calling them indigenous. The Tainui Waka was a slave ship owned by the royal family. Māori versus Pākehā was created by bringing Great Britain slaves to New Zealand and calling them farmers. We were all slaves, bought and sold on Jamaican slave colonies exactly like Africans. Hannah, any of our Māori experts like Daniel Ormsby, Mitch Hughes, Tom Roa, Corey Stevens or Scotty Morrison can admit Māori are not indigenous to the South Pacific. With your help, Scotty Morrison and Stacey Morrison know about graphene too. Matthew Tukake and Wātea Media also know about graphene poisoning and mass Māori deaths. Scotty and Matthew are relief-funded murderers just like Keith and Jacinda. Matthew can actually afford to pay you and Scotty to come to Te Kuiri and answer your questions, Hannah. Mawhi Moss Sheedy will help you, Hannah, if you can get her to understand the truth. Mawhi sat next to me in high school and is now our only local Māori police officer. Mawhi told us to shut the fuck up while they were giving our kids wealth and health away for poison and lies. Ngāti Maniapoto was promised 5,000 houses, but there won't be 5,000 Ngāti Maniapoto people. Mawhi can get Te Nihinihi Nui Government Trust Board to tell the truth. They were tricked again by our oppressors. tricked into culling their own family trees out of existence. Our last resort, Hannah, is to hold a concert or hui to educate our town on graphene and domestic bioweapons. I tried to attend a Te Kuiti hui, but the New Zealand armed defenders were sent out to shoot me. If you can educate my brothers Darcy, Regan and Daniel, they can help Muffy tell the truth. If you can educate some of the other legendary musos like Richie, Tiwiati, Jesse, Jamie, Rob and Lloyd, we can fight together. If you can get Lloyd to help, all his generation will kick ass. Lloyd's about the nicest person you'll ever meet. We can hold a gig outside the radio station until someone gives a fuck about our poisoned kids. If we work together, I'm sure some of our more famous musos with Tikawiti links might join too, like Te Kitane, Ara Adams and Logan Bell. I think all musos will want to join because none of them want to be the face of Māori extinction like Tiki and Ara, like Keith and Jacinda. If you can educate them, Hannah, on what they have supported, our media, councils and government Māori trust boards might finally tell the truth. We need to stop this fictitious system and start again. There is a whole generation of people my kids' age who deserve to know the system poisoned them to death. Te Kuiti shutdown. We need you, Hannah, to educate the people who poisoned us to fight back. We need to replace the water poisoning our kids in the taps with actual water. We need to replace the poisoned plastic-based cancer-causing food in our supermarkets. We need to grow our own food in abundance. We need to replace the poison, rongoa and medicine with real oxygen, water and proven medication. We can educate our kids not to be slaves who poison their own kids to death because of a television advert. We can educate our kids not to be self-centered ball-heads for relief-funded rewards and money until we can provide our children land, air and water rights. Without food, air and medicine that poisons and sterilizes them, we are our children's oppressors. No other rabbit holes are important, Hannah. You need humans to have all of these government-endorsed, foreign investor-created rabbit holes. Our languages, religions, spirituality, cultures, tattoo, weapons, history and beliefs were all given by our oppressors and not our ancestors. Keith Aiken thought he was a Māori instead of a Roman slave, poisoning all of us out of existence for foreign investors that he will never meet. Meanwhile, I'm the dickhead, according to a person I have never met. Someone uneducated, Hannah, that needs your help. Facing the current sterilisation genocide crisis in New Zealand is the only thing important right now. Anyone not talking about graphene and the domestic bioweapon is being rewarded for culling our kids. If you vote in New Zealand, you support the royal family that bought and sold your ancestors, then relabeled you Pākehā or Māori. New Zealand and Māori trust boards are in coalition with America. Every American president is related to King Richard of York. Every American president is related to King John, the brother of King Richard. That's why John Sons is such a big name in America. The royal family owned the most slaves. If you vote, you support our ownership by the royal family. You support a system that has poisoned us all to death. With the invention of graphene nanotechnology, we will all be under the control of a supercomputer. We will not even be able to have our own thoughts, Hannah. Please invite everyone in New Zealand to shut the system down until the last of our kids are safe. We can change the world. We just have to admit the world was full of shit. Please do journalism, Hannah, and help save our kids. You don't hear from me, Te Kuiti, because I'm censored. I'm censored because I'm telling the truth, whānau. Please, Hannah, get our whānau to fight back. Please, Hannah, find a way to get our family to fight for our kids.